Hey, Jay and I are back. Good to see you, Servants Art Fellowship. We are going to jump right into the details this time. So, COVID-19, at first it seemed like we didn't know anyone that had it. Now it seems like everybody knows somebody who has tested positive for it. So, what is this? Where'd it come from? What's happening in our state right now? So, if you could, Jay, share with us a little bit of some of the stats so that we can understand what is actually happening.
Okay. Um, well, it's kind of a good and bad picture. I think we talked about last time. Initially, when things started throughout the country, but in North Carolina, things weren't as bad, which is good, and North Carolina as well. The worst states. We were not one of the worst states. So certainly, states like New York, some of the larger metropolitan areas were worse. One thing I did notice as I looked at the curves for some of the statistics, we always talked about flattening the curves, and we never actually got, for North Carolina, the curve completely flat. It did decrease, but it never went to flat before we went back to loosening some of the things, which is, it's not pointing fingers or anything like that. It's just observation. But we definitely are seeing things go up for sure. There's various reasons for that. I'm not going to speculate, but that's just a fact that over the past month, cases have gone up for sure. We've had, I think, as of the 30th of June, I think we've had like 64,000 cases. The concerning thing is over the past month, essentially, and it does correspond to when phase 2 kind of went into effect in North Carolina, the cases have doubled. The daily cases have doubled. They've gone up from 600 a day to 1,300 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's definitely trending in the wrong direction. And the hospitalizations have gone up as well. They've gone up by about a third. So,
do you think some of that is because people just aren't taking it as seriously as they should?
I would think so. I mean that's just observation.
Right.
I don't know all the. I'm not a epidemiologist and stuff, but
I can't even say that word.
Yes, but you see people. You start mixing the germ pool and stuff, and people being exposed, and you get people around and passing germs around, things are going to go up. So you kind of expected it, but
right.
But if it doesn't level back off, that's concerning. I think people are fatigued. They're fatigued of COVID, so they're naturally going to slack off. I've slacked off, so I'm a doctor and I know better. So,
yeah.
But that doesn't excuse it. It's just human nature. The death rates, I'm not sure how high they've gone up, but they're not insignificant. And we're on a stat somewhere. I can't remember. I think the total deaths in North Carolina was over 1,300, so it's not insignificant. Especially if that's your loved one.
Yeah,
for sure. So a couple interesting points from a statistical standpoint, just from the ages. We all know, we've all heard that it's the elderly that this affects, but actually the most common age group that this affects is ages 25 to 49 as far as who gets it. So it's 45% of people that are in that age group come down with COVID. And then when you get above 50 to 64, 20% of that's 20% in that age group. And above 65, it's just 14%. Now, however, from a death standpoint, out of those who die, 65 and above, it's 80% of deaths occur for that. I'm sorry, 60%. And then those that are 65 and above, it's 80%. So the deaths occur definitely in the elderly.
Right.
So,
How much do you want to get into the history of COVID-19. You want to go ahead and share with us kind of
Yeah.
where this came from?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, well, how about we just talk about like the illness itself? I mean,
Yeah.
most of us are familiar with it. I mean, it's all over the news and stuff. But let me just talk about a little bit of details and maybe uh, for possibility of clarifying any confusion and stuff, um, if it helps. So the spectrum of the illness, it's a pretty wide spectrum of illness. I mean, it goes anywhere from asymptomatic to, life-threatening respiratory failure. Um, Asymptomatic cases, not quite sure how many people have asymptomatic cases, and there's a lot of different studies, speculation. I saw one just recently that estimated 30 to 40% of cases are asymptomatic, but again, that's just it's not sure.
Yeah.
But when symptoms are present, they typically occur 4 to 5 days after exposure. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But and the most common symptoms are going to be fevers, cough, typically dry, fatigue, and then as it gets more advanced, patients get short of breath. Some less common symptoms, you'll see runny nose, sore throat, headaches. You can get some gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea, vomiting, changes in stools. You also can get some unusual symptoms that seem to be unique to COVID, taste and smell changes, which is a little bit odd. So, now as far as how sick do people really get, it looks like about 20% of people tend to get really sick, or what we call categorize as severely ill. 80% are mild to moderate cases. Even in those moderate cases, a lot of those are still pneumonia. Those are short of breath, have low oxygen. Those are hospital cases. The 20%, the 15% of those are hospitalized, and it's 5% that are critically ill. They're having acute respiratory failure. They have multiple organ system failure. Those are deathly ill.
Right. Yeah.
And then the death rate is about 2 to 3%. It's estimated right now. So it's always kind of fluctuated throughout the last couple of months, but it seems to be where it's kind of settled at.
Man, it is helpful to be able to hear from somebody who is seeing this firsthand, because I know so many of us are we're just reading stuff online. We're seeing articles on Facebook, and so we're grateful for you for helping put together these videos, and we're grateful to be able to be educated. Yeah.
I would say one other thing that's probably worth repeating is, of course, it can affect everybody, and the severe cases can affect everybody. But as we probably heard, it's more likely to be serious in those with the elderly, as we've said, but also with other chronic medical conditions. So diabetes, lung disease, heart disease, chronic kidney disease, obesity, cancer, patients that are called immunosuppressed. So those are the ones you want to be particularly careful about, and you want to protect for sure. And don't mistake COVID that COVID is just a respiratory illness. It's we found out it has some unusual complications to it. It can give you heart problems. Patients have high risk of heart attacks with it. It has a weird, unusual increased risk of clotting disorders. Patients have increased blood clots. Some unusual inflammatory complications from it. So that seems to be what separates this from some of the other more benign viruses.
We're gonna take a break here now, and then come back in a bit with another video. But by the time we put out the other video, you will have already had a chance to see this. So if any of you have specific questions that you'd like Dr. J to hit, send it to us. And before we put out another video, we will make sure that we answer any specific questions that you have. As believers, we are not supposed to be fearful, so we're not, but we do need to be informed. I mean, it's just wisdom. God has given us common sense. So we love you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.